What does relationships have to do with spirituality? Well, there's a lot. I believe it's all intertwined. So let's get into it and not waste no time. But before we do, I would like to give many thanks to all the new subscribers and for all your comments. Much love and thank you so much. So, what does relationships have to do with spirituality? A lot of things. Let me tell you something, because when you start getting deep into it, relationships are connections you have and bonds you build with people throughout your whole life, right? And you go through hardships, happy times, bad times. A lot of this is with relationships that you build. I want to get deep into this, and at right before the end of the video, I want to get into something that I hadn't thought about this. We've been thinking about for a while, but I want to hit some topics, and then I'm going to tell you that thought that I had at the end. So relationships, I believe the ones that I was looking out to and that standed the most to me was four types. You had the family relationships, acquaintances that you meet throughout your day, friends, and romantic relationships. Oh, be careful with those romantic relationships. On a little side quick note, I really want to tell you is that always remember that when you get romantic or have certain feelings for someone, really make sure that you test that relationship to the max before you get into any type of really deep connection. Because remember this, you're giving a piece of that yourself to that person and you're taking a piece of them. And if you really think about that, you don't want to go in many romantic relationships, because then you're what? Spiritually giving away a lot of your power, believe it or not. You're giving pieces away to everybody. What's going to be left for you at the end? Think about that. So back now, we have those four. We said family relationships, acquaintances, friends, and romantic relationships. Let's jump into all of them. So family relationships are connections and bonds that you have. That's why you always got to remember, always set your differences aside. Life is too short. You don't know. You don't want to have those moments where you have any regrets. You always want to live your life saying, you know what? I'm glad I made these decisions that I made, and I'm living the way I'm living life right now. Not before, not later, not in the future. Remember, live in that present moment. Make something worth it. So those family relationships, you want to put those differences aside. You want to get connected, because that's something that kept right before I wanted to do this video. There's something that kept coming into my mind, just telling me to say, tell them about connection to everything within your life, spiritually. Even if you don't believe in anything spiritual, but you believe in something, whatever it may be, you gotta believe in yourself, right? Okay, so then if you believe, let's say, or don't, you have to start believing in yourself, because the strongest connection you can have is through yourself and this mind, the body and spirit. You'll be unstoppable. And then you could pass that on to all these things we're talking about throughout your life and get them all connected. There you go, connection. So you have those family relationships, keep those strong bonds, put your differences aside, really work with whatever it is and get close. Acquaintances, treat everybody like they will almost say throughout all of this like family. I would say treat everyone like that. Treat them as the best you can. Now, of course, people that you're just passing by or whatever, you're not going to start hugging them and say, hey, I love you, man. Because who knows what might happen. But what the heck is going on? This guy's crazy or she's crazy. But you know where I'm heading with this. Show everyone that same. I wrote down here, where was it? Oh, I wrote this actually under romantic relationships, but it goes for almost to all of these that I mentioned, which is you must have trust and respect and also accept imperfections. Oh, that's a deep one, right? We always want to make that person the way we want and mold them, right? Like we're building some type of like in a pottery class, right? Only if they were just like this. No, we can try our best, but always remember we all have imperfections. We got to learn how to accept some of them. And yes, I'm talking about not going off or drifting into certain bad habits or whatever, but just those little imperfections that drive other people crazy within, let's just say, example, in a relationship. So have that trust, that respect, and try to deal with some of those imperfections. Who knows? Maybe by you not showing them that it bothers you, they might stop it on their own. So now we had those friends. You know who your friends are. Friends are people that do something for you and don't ask you for nothing in return. They truly do it from what? Their heart, right? And that's who a friend to me is. Someone that will lend, it doesn't have to be necessarily financial money or whatever it may be, nothing like that. Just even lending an ear, listening to you in times of distress, helping you out. And also don't forget to do the same in return. Remember what I always say in a lot of my videos? It's not a one-way street, two ways. Next, romantic relationships. Now, remember what I was saying in the beginning? I had this thought, and this is what I really wanted to get into. I started to see this a lot within people that I actually helped or came to me for advice, and kind of asked certain questions, and I see that what was happening was throughout those relationships or romantic relationships, the trust, the respect was gone. It was broken. Think of it this. I'll give you an analogy. Sometimes you got to be careful because just like you can be, let's say I was in the forest, I was camping, whenever some people, your kid, or you snap that stick, right? Can you put that stick back together perfectly? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you'll put a piece of tape on it. You could put anything, maybe glue. Will it hold? Maybe. But that's what I want you to realize within your life, within relationships. Watch that you don't break that stick and can't put it back together, or you just might mend it, but it'll never heal. So make those right decisions so that that trust is not broken, that respect between each other is there. Because you know what? It's better to just tell someone you don't want to be with them than to do something later that you regret because what? That's not showing them the respect or trust that they deserve. Remember this with all things throughout your life, because I see a lot of this with this youth. It seems to me like they're just going with each other. There's no type of romantic relationship, meaning like just showing each other love without even going into anything sexual or nature, or anything like that. But it seems like they all seem to go towards that, and then got to be careful with that, because always remember, whoever you lay with or whoever you're with, you're giving a piece of yourself to that person. They're taking a piece of yourself. And many times I've heard this in relationships where someone gets mad or angry at another person and says, oh my gosh, I totally regret what I did that night, or who I was with, or what happened. You knew that you were going off emotions and not your thoughts or thinking clearly. And then once it's done, remember what I said about that stick? Sometimes you break something and you can't repair it. Think about that. So always hold yourself to a higher standard and keep that gift of being romantic with someone special. That's a special moment. So use it wisely. Take care, everyone. I came by Rubey.